Get your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.
Next, we will look at filtering the result set of a query by using multiple field criteria. Most often, when you have multiple criteria in a query, you will either want the query to show records that match both value X and value Y in different fields, or show records that contain value X or value Y within the same or different fields. It's very unusual to use an AND condition within a single field, but it isn't unheard of either. This is because when we use the AND condition, a record will only be returned in the result set if it meets all criteria conditions joined by the AND condition. When using the OR condition, a record will be displayed in the result set if it matches any of the criteria conditions specified. When you use the QBE grid to set up your AND and OR conditions, you must make use of the multiple fields in the criteria and OR rows, which is the row that is beneath criteria and all the rows that follow that. To establish an AND condition between query criteria, the criteria must be placed into the same criteria row, and this is typically how you will create an AND condition between query criteria. So for example, let's say that we wanted to look for any sales for employee ID 1 and employee ID 3 that had an order date between the 1st of 1997 and the end of the year, 12/31/97. So first I would put in my first criteria. Anything for employee 1 where the order date, and notice how I put it in the same row, meaning not only does it have to be employee 1, and the order date is greater than or equal to 1/1/97, and, which I'm going to type, simultaneously less than or equal to 12/31/97. So here we're looking at actually three AND conditions. In order to be returned from the result set, it would have to be employee ID 1 and the order date has to have a value that is greater than or equal to 1/1/97 and at the same time less than or equal to 12/31/1997. Here is an example of using the AND operator in a single column. In this case, it's okay because we're actually using comparison operators which compare ranges of values. You wouldn't, for example, put in under a city field Detroit and Lansing or New York and Miami. That would mean that the person would have to live in both cities at the same time. And so we don't usually have AND conditions in a single column, but as I mentioned earlier, it isn't unheard of either. And in this situation, you would simply actually type the word AND between the conditions. Otherwise, they simply go in the same row. Now you can also join multiple query criteria together with the OR condition. To establish the OR condition between query criteria, you place the query criteria into separate criteria rows under the same column, and this is usually how you'll use your OR condition. So for example, we didn't only want to see sales that came in for that date range just for employee ID 1, we also wanted to find where the employee ID was 3, and also using the exact same date range. Once again, verify your criteria. In this case, we're looking for anything where it's employee ID 1 and the order date is greater than or equal to 1/1/97 and at the same time simultaneously less than or equal to 12/31/1997, or we're looking for employee ID 3 sales and the order date is greater than or equal to 1/1/97 and less than or equal to 12/31/97. At that point, you could simply click Run to view the different orders that were placed by Employee 3 and Employee 1 in 1997. And that's how you can use and or conditions within your queries.
Like what you see? Pick up your free copy of the complete tutorial at www.teachucomp.com/free.